Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jody Chafee, the host of the Family Culture Movement and a homeschool mom. So, this video is about the 3 mindset shifts for successful homeschooling. When you decide to homeschool your kids, there's going to be a transition process, and you might even consider doing something called deschooling, where you just kind of do a family reset and you start over and you cut back and just do like essential basic things you do as a family, like meals and chores and reading time. Okay, so that's one idea about when you're transitioning into homeschooling. But I want to talk about the mindset. Okay, there's a difference between the homeschooling mindset, home education, or self-education, than there is around compulsory education, public schooling, and just school in general. Okay, there's a difference. And so those are the 3 mindset shifts I want to talk about today. Number 1 is mastery education versus compulsory education. With compulsory education, there's no freedom to explore your passions. You need to just check off the boxes and follow the curricula and the syllabi and the scope and sequence of exactly what you're supposed to accomplish in that school year. You start to lose your inner voice of creativity and that voice calling you toward a personal mission. Whereas with mastery education, it means you get to explore, you get to follow your curiosity, you get to find opportunities to explore something, to investigate something, to enjoy something. And parents become stewards of planting seeds and igniting sparks, and they become mentors, and you're engaging in problem solving rather than regurgitated answers. So that's the difference between mastery education and compulsory education. When you shift towards the mindset of mastery education, then you empower your kids to follow their curiosity, to follow their passions, to ask questions, and to mentor them towards resources to help them find the answers. And it's empowering, it helps them to have autonomy, and helps them to feel a sense of purpose and control over their education. Mindset number 2 is the consumer culture versus the producer culture. It's kind of similar to this idea of compulsory versus mastery, because in compulsory education, you're just kind of the consumer. You're just there to take in whatever is told to you, and then you regurgitate it again on the test. But as a producer, you are in it to create. You're in it to solve problems, to find solutions. So consumption leads to a lack of self-efficacy. You become dependent on someone else for your education. Consumption dulls our senses and leaves us craving our base desires. Production leads to fulfillment, satisfaction, and solving problems. Production leads to creativity, mental and physical exertion, and growth. Production leads to self-starting, problem-solving, and a growth mindset. I was watching something from Simon Sinek the other day about somebody who is a finite versus an infinite player. A finite player is only in it to get something out of it, or they can only meet the expectations, they have a fixed mindset, whereas an infinite player is somebody who is in it to solve problems. They begin their creative process when they're faced with a problem, and they're more reliable. The third mindset shift is to shift away from fear-based culture to more of a trust-driven culture. Fear means manipulation. It's fear of failure, fear of pain, fear of displeasing those who judge us. It's a loss of an internal locus of control. So these 3 are very similar in that regard. Fear is you can't get where you want to go if you're motivated by fear. There's a very different outcome when you are working to avoid pain versus going towards something that is a goal. Trust enables us to have a secure attachment to our parents and peers and our children. It's self-confidence, it means open communication, and encourages innovation. Trust enables our children to feel empowered, protected, and accepted. So those are the 3 mindset shift. Going towards mastery education versus compulsory education, going toward a producer culture versus simply a consumer culture, and going towards a trust culture rather than a fear-based culture. Thank you guys so much for listening and following along in this tutorial about homeschooling. And make sure you stay tuned for the next episode of this, if you can call it an episode, the next video in this series about why I don't overstructure our kids' homeschool day. Make sure you come over to homeandfamilyculture.com and you can subscribe to my podcast there. And you can also download my homeschooling beginner kit. And that's available when you scroll down the page. You can see it over there. And just you're welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions.